Alright, go ahead and open your journals to a clean page and title in Subtracting Integers, as that is what we will be discussing today. So just a quick review, let's go ahead and recall how we work adding positive and negative integers. So our starting point for A, I'm going to label this one A, is always going to be 0, right? So the first number says we want to go -5. So I'm going to jump back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to jump back 5 until I end up at -5. Then it tells us it wants us to go positively 4. So I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3, 4 forward again, and I'm going to end up at -1. Now, using our adding integers rules, we know that when the number is positive and negative, we actually subtract them. So 5 minus 4 is 1. And we take the sign of the number with the greater absolute value. So 5 is bigger than the number 4, and 5 is negative, so that means that our answer is also going to be negative. I'm going to model B with you, and then you're going to do C on your own. So it says for B, we're going to start at 0. It wants us to jump +9, so I'm going to go all the way over to 9, right? I'm not even going to make all the little jumps. We know how big that's going to be. So I moved all the way over to 9. Then it says it wants us to move -13. So now I'm going to jump back 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So, in this particular case, oops, did I make a mistake? Oh no. So, in this particular case, I ended up at -4. Now, how do we use our integer rules? Well, we know that in this case, we have to subtract them because we have positive and negative. So 13 minus 9 is 4. And then from there, we pick the sign of the bigger numbers. So 13 is bigger than 9, and 13 is negative, so my answer is also going to be negative. I want you to go ahead and work out problem C independently in your journal. Alright, so now we're going to look at some subtraction examples. So let's look at this first one right here. I'm going to label this one A. It says 3 minus 5 gives us -2. So the way you can think about it is using a number line, you're going to walk 3 steps forward. So you're going to start at 0 and you're going to walk all the way to 3. The negative sign is kind of like saying stop and turn around. I don't want you to walk forward anymore. I want you to turn around and walk the other direction. After that, we're going to walk. It wants us to move 5 steps. So after our little person has turned around, we're now going to move 5 steps to the left. Where do you end up? You end up at -2. So subtraction is kind of like saying, let's go the other direction. Let's turn around. I don't want to move forward anymore. Let's look at this part B, right? It says -3 minus 5 is -8. So the fact that you're walking -3 is like you're walking backwards, right? Because we're always going to be facing the positive direction. We're going to walk backwards to -3. This negative sign that we have here is telling us to turn around. So now we're going to be we're facing this way. Now we're going to turn around and face all the negative numbers. And now we're going to walk forward 5 steps. And we're going to end up at -8. So whenever you see a subtraction sign, it's kind of like saying, let's turn around. Let's not face the direction that we were facing anymore. This is an easy way to connect subtraction to kind of walking in a certain direction. I want you to independently look at these slides and make sense of what they are asking you. One thing that I think is very important to know is that whenever you see double negative signs together, they actually turn into a positive. So when you have subtraction, you are pretty much saying addition. Both of those negative signs are going to be added together, and it's going to be addition with a positive number. So that is something interesting to think about. I want you to digest this slide and then move on to the next one. So very easy rule to remember in terms of subtraction is this KCC, or keep, change, change. You may have heard of keep, change, flip, but that is different. That is for fractions. Keep, change, change is for subtraction. I'm sorry, keep, change, flip is for division. Keep, change, change is for subtraction. So take a moment to copy this down in your journal, and then I'm going to show you what it actually looks like with a subtraction problem. Alright, so let's look at this example here. It's a subtraction problem because we have that subtraction sign in the center. It says +7 minus -3. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep the sign of the first one, going back to KCC. We're going to keep the sign of the first number, which is positive 7. We're going to change the subtraction to addition, make it positive, and then we're going to change this negative 3 into a positive 3. So we're left with 7 plus 3 equals 10. And as you can tell, the two negative signs together ended up turning into two positives. So double negatives or two wrongs always make a right. Two negatives will always give you a positive. Let's take a look at this example as well. So here we have negative 3, right? We're going to keep the sign of negative 3. We're going to change the subtraction to addition. And finally, we're going to change the positive 4 to its opposite of negative 4. So that leaves us with negative 3 plus 4 equals negative 1. How did we do that? Well, using our integer rules. We have a negative number and a positive, so we're going to subtract them. 4 minus 3 is 1. And then what we're going to do is keep the sign of the bigger number. So I realize that there's a mistake here, but we're going to keep the sign of the bigger number, which is positive 4. So our answer is also going to be positive. Think of it this way. We have we owe somebody $3 and then we pay them back 4. That person now has positive $1, right? We paid them more than we owed. So the answer here is going to be positive. Okay? Make sure to fix that mistake. Oops. All right, now let's look at this one. This one's a little bit different. So here we're going to do the KCC again. We're going to keep the negative 5 to negative 5. We're going to change the subtraction sign to addition. And then we're also going to change the positive 2. Right now it's positive 2, but I'm going to change it to negative 2, right? So negative 5 plus negative 2. When we have two negative numbers, we add them and keep the sign. Now, another way to write this is negative 5 minus 2. And so what some students are going to think is that this particular subtraction sign means negative. But the way to actually look at it is negative 5, then a line, then the negative, then another line, and then 2. It's kind of like the 2 is by itself. That is something to definitely keep in mind. All right, so now you have 6 different practice problems. I want you to try all of these in your journal for a classwork grade. So if you need to model it using the number line and using what we had before with the person walking, you may. But you need to understand keep, change, change so that you can turn these into addition problems and subtract them properly. So go ahead and solve these problems in your journal.